Okay, I believe we are recording now. So let me stop sharing. Welcome everyone. I'm excited today because every semester I host this alumni panel in the seminar class, and I think it's a great way, especially for new students, to get familiar with our alumni and to ask questions. I know some of you are coming from very different fields, and you're still learning about instructional design, so it's a great opportunity for you to ask questions to others who have been through the process that may not be so easy to ask to your instructor. So today, what we're going to do is that we're going to have like a general session, all of us together, but then we are also going to have small breakout rooms so that you can talk and you can ask questions directly. We're going to call it professional speed networking. And if you don't have questions, don't worry. I found a website that has 100 questions, and you can, we're not going to go through 100 questions, but it will give you an idea of a question that you can ask, and maybe that will help you continue the conversation. So we're going to do, I don't know how much time we're going to have, but I'm aiming at least to have 2 of those speed networking session. So we'll see. But initially, we're just going to start with a general overview so we can have all be in the same conversation. So our guest today, let me start sharing my screen so I can do this properly. Our guests today are alumni that have graduated. I'm sorry, I had to get a picture. Patricia, I just saw your reaction. Well, you know I'm sneaking, so so our guests today are alumni that have graduated, oh my God, over, I don't know, the last maybe 3 years, 3.5 years. I'm not 100% sure. 4 years, Patricia has 4 years. She is a vet, senior. So we have a Stacy Singletary. Did I pronounce? I'm terrible with last names. Stacy, you got it. Okay. Of course, then comes Amani, which is even a harder name for me to pronounce. Amani Kabajastalk. Did I say that correctly, Amani?
Cabbage stock.
Okay, you say it better than I do. Leanne McCarthy, and I'm going to give you all an opportunity to introduce yourselves as well. Patricia Rodriguez and Susana Darias. So with that, I'm going to give the floor to our guests so that they can tell us a little bit more about themselves. So, and I'll try to guide the conversation. So if you can tell us, where do you currently work? What is your role within the organization? And how you are using your instructional design degree. So let's go in that initial order. So Stacy, if you can start telling us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I have to find the unmute button. At my new office, they use Teams. So it's this whole different vibe of the conference call. So it's taken a little bit for me to get used to. But I actually work with Greenway Health, and they basically do, like when you go to the doctor and the software that the doctor happens to use to make appointments, keep up with your electronic health records and whatnot. That's what this company does. They write that software. So I've really enjoyed it so far. There's a ton of work to do. And I find that a lot of times, like right now, I'm literally creating content and developing e-learning as they're producing it, or as like today I had one person that was facilitating, and while they were facilitating I was adding in the next slide. So a
Yeah.
lot of things are a little, hot spot, but that's okay. I like that. I like going for it and trying to come up with a lot of creative things. I like the group there. They're very proactive. They, start the conversation with, we want you to be something new, something fresh. So, and that's what I've been doing. So I've brought a lot of things to the table. I love that. It's fun. It's fun to be useful and helpful to the group pretty quick. As far as my instructional design degree goes, I'm using it a lot. Like I was just developing some things not too long ago, and I was presenting to the rest of the group because I just had some new ideas, and I was just sharing them with group. Somebody else saw it and was like, "Oh, I need to bring that in." So and as I was going through, I was talking about, in which I never thought I would be talking about. I was like, well, for meaningful learning to happen, we're going to hook this to something that they already know. So I actually started leaning on some of the theories that I learned and to make more sense out of why I did what I did. So I've used it a lot. It's been great. I really enjoyed it. So,
Wonderful.
mhm.
Thank you, Stacy, for sharing. Um, okay, so we're gonna go on to Amani. How about yourself, Amani? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. So, hi everyone. My name is Amani Cabbagestock. So, I am currently the training and administrative specialist for the Interstate Commission for Juveniles. So, it's a national government organization. We work with juvenile parole and probation officers around the country, and we work with kids who are involved in the juvenile justice system or have run away across state lines. So I am actually, I oversee the training and education program for the organization. So right now I am kind of like running a learning management system, so kind of like Blackboard. So for all of the different departments around the country, creating trainings for them and then uploading the trainings to the learning management system. They're also in the process of rolling out a new data management system. So that's more like on the techie side. So somebody else is doing that, but I'm creating trainings for it. So they're giving me the information and I'm creating trainings in Storyline actually. So that was really helpful that I learned that program because that's what I'm using to do that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Amani. And you've been in this position since the first week of the year,
Yeah.
so it's a fairly new role.
Mhm.
Well, thanks for sharing, Amani. Glad to hear that things are going well. So next on, Leanne, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hi. My name is Leanne McCarthy. I graduated in the summer of 2020, so not too long ago. I started my position at Hillsborough Community College, and I started in November. So it's been just over 3 months that I've been there. Um, our department has instructional designers and curriculum designers, and I'm in the curriculum design role. So our instructional designers mostly focus on LMS support and like making sure objectives are measurable and that they align. And so they're doing a lot of the course design. And then the curriculum designers, we come in and fill that course with curriculum, whether it be videos, infographics, modules, all sorts of neat things. So it's been an experience working with a college that has 5 different campuses because they have so many classes. So sometimes I'm paired with biology faculty or stats faculty. So I'm learning a lot about the courses, but it's fun to work with the different subject matter experts and create things for the classroom. So that's what I'm currently doing. And as far as my instructional design degree, we keep an eye really closely on making sure everything is ADA compliant. So that's a big part. And also, I think Patricia's pretty familiar, but we do Quality Matters reviews. And so there's just a whole lot in that evaluation that pertains to the ID degree. So definitely using that a lot.
Mhm. Thank you, Leanne. And we're actually part of the ACC family, so it's so wonderful that you ended up there. So
Yeah, one of our instructional designers is Janet Lee, who she graduated from this program as well. So it's cool to see a UT alum over there.
yeah, that's really neat. I'm glad that you get to work with her, with
Yeah,
Janet.
it's been really great so far.
Wonderful. Okay, so next up is Patricia. Patricia, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
It's my turn. Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Patricia Rodriguez. What do I do? Well, I currently work at Ultimate Medical Academy as a curriculum and instructional design specialist. Ultimate Medical Academy is a local Tampa school. It's a proprietary school, so we are allied health. And I work for the online department. So basically, I build all of the online courses. So we have like medical and billing and coding. I just did a whole accounting program. I'm doing health information management now. So there's just those types of programs that students can take online. And I'm the curriculum instructional designer. So I mostly sit in the design phase. I know you guys are kind of learning about Addie, right? This is an intro class and the senior class. So you guys know some theory. So I sit mostly in the design phase. The IDs are the engine of my entire curriculum affairs department. So there's the IDs, there's multimedia who kind of builds the videos and, if we want little fun, cool stuff in the course. And then there's the instructional technologists who take our ideas and kind of bring them to life. So kind of like Leanne's situation where you kind of have two different teams that are both putting things in the course room. The instructional technologists do kind of like the back end stuff and do more development, but the IDs are the meat and potatoes. There is nothing in a course that I have not either built or touched or created. So I use my entire degree for my role between theory, Bloom's. Oh gosh, my favorite class, Dr. Romero-Hall, because I hate the idea of calling you a Nilda scares me. Like a Nilda, what? My favorite course I ever took was that multimedia course.
Yeah.
My course. I love that course. I try to do everything I can to bring fun assets. So I'm responsible for designing everything. I storyboard every day, literally up until 5:55 before I hopped on. I was working on doing like a weekly lesson and a content page. So I use all aspects of my degree every day. And I like that because there's a lot of freedom with my role to do that. When I started, I was like, there's no way I can make this happen. I don't know what I'm doing. Like I did stuff in the program, I have no clue what I'm doing. And no, actually it's kind of the best way to learn. They kind of like push you into it. And they were like, here are some discussions, revise them. And I was like, okay, I can do this. And surprisingly, it's fine. But yeah, so I use all aspects of my degree every day, including quality matters as well. We are under quality matters evaluation all the time, and that is the gold standard for e-learning courses. They are the gold standard. They set the standard for e-learning courses, and we are pushing for all of our courses to be quality matters certified. So that's a really huge project and a big process. And we are also required to take their professional development courses as well. So that's pretty much the gist of what I do.
Yeah, thank you, Patricia. I was actually going to ask you if you were all required to do the quality matters process.
Yeah, I took 4 courses so far over the last year. And yeah, I was building a program and taking a course at the same time. So gotta love my supervisor, but they pay for it. So I can't complain. But yeah, I took the certification to be a peer reviewer so I can review courses. But you also need to teach in order to be a peer reviewer. They don't tell you that until after you pay for the course. So like, but yeah, quality matters is real cool. And I'm sure we'll have time to talk about that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Patricia. Okay. Next up is Susana.
Hi, everyone. My name is Susana Darias. I graduated back in 2019. I work at Lazy Days RV, the RV authority. There is the company is really big. They have around 11 locations around the US. They are now opening 2 more. The one in Tampa is the biggest one. That includes the service department as well. And my job at the company is instructional design / LMS administrator. So I basically create all the training material for the employees. So every 2 weeks, I upload to the LMS videos, because I use this new software. I don't know if Dr. Romero-Hall, you introduced this to the class already. It's called Beyond.
Mm-mm.
It's a new software, and it's really cool. It actually has like different characters. It kind of remind me to a storyboard, and kind of like articulate, but they are different characters. So that's actually the software that I'm using. I don't work too much with articulate. I constantly work with I was saying with those trainings. Make sure I upload also like knowledge checks, so there is like a constant evaluation to every single employee, so they have the option to take, well, not the option, it's required to take the the quiz, so they have to pass. And when they don't do the quiz, we have those. Yes, of course, is beyond. I will type it here.
Yeah, I
Hold
was
on.
actually going to ask you to type it too,
Yeah.
Susana, so I can look it up.
Yes, beyond. And I don't only use the training for all the employees, but I also do the training for the service department. So there's like specific things that the service department gives me. So in base of that, I create that training for them. But in the normal training, I do the script. I also do the storyboard. I manage all those things.
Okay. Thank you, Susana. And I'm gonna also post into the chat the link to Quality Matters, and we can come back to that conversation. So thanks for sharing, Susana. I saw, did you share your software?
I
Okay.
think I did, but it was responding to the person that I.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see it. Okay, perfect. Thank you
Oh.
very much.
Okay.
Yeah, Leanne posted it. Thank you, Leanne.
Thank you, Leanne.
So let me go back to the PowerPoint. So as you can see, our alumni are working on very different settings. So I think we can say Stacy's working in sort of like a corporate medical kind of area. Susana's working in corporate sector. Leanne is more higher education. Patricia's kind of like higher education as well. I would say higher education for profit. And then we have Amani, who's working for a government entity, pretty much. So hopefully this gives you some ideas on questions that you may want to ask in case this is an area that you want to go into. So one of my number one questions that I like to ask, because I like people to know what are the good things and the bad things before they get into a specific situation, is working as an instructional designer in your specific setting. What do you like the most, or what do you like the least about your current ID role? So I will not tell your employers, but do remember that this is being recorded and it's going to be posted on YouTube. So so what do you like the most, and what do you like the least about your current role as an ID? And let's start in the middle. So let's start with Patricia, and then we'll figure out a different order.
I knew you were going to pick me first. Okay. Let's see. Thanks for the disclaimer, because you know me, I would have just gone for days. Like the most. I mean, I told myself I was going to be very honest tonight. What I like the most about my job is there's a lot of flexibility to create and to design. As the instructional designer, I am truly in charge of like 14 different courses. And I built a whole program last year from start to finish after only working there for 6 months. And that's like a whole thing. But that taught me so much about myself, but it also taught me what I'm capable of. And having a really great supervisor that's like, no, you can do this, and kind of push me towards it. And then having the flexibility to kind of create and come up with new and innovative things in the course room was really fun. So I would say that that's what I like the most about my job. Like as an ID, we're probably the most respected within the education department at my organization. So I mean, people really listen to us. If there's something wrong in the course room, the program director doesn't go to my boss, they go to me, you know, because I'm the one that built it. And since the curriculum is centralized, meaning that we build everything in the course and then an instructor teaches it, we essentially kind of say what goes. So that's really fun to kind of be in charge. What I like the least is, and I was explaining this to a candidate that applied for a role, there's like no happy medium. It's kind of full chaos sometimes, or it's, you know, overly structured in certain things that we know are just aren't going to work because we need the freedom. That is the hard and tricky part. We don't always have a lot of time with our deadlines to really figure out how we're going to do something. And I think that everybody can kind of relate to that, right? Like you got like 2 weeks, how are you going to make it happen? So that can be really hard and tricky because we're creating an online learning environment that's going to be sticking. Like what we put in the course is going to go out, you know, so it's going to go live to students. So we want our learning environment to be good. We want it to be robust. We want it to be perfect. I joke about how we're a team of perfectionists all the time. Like everything has to be good to go. And, you know, we have to have the right level and make sure that we're including the right sort of activities. And are they meeting the sub-objectives? Are they meeting the course objectives? So I think that can be tricky because that's kind of what I'm going through now, where I'm explaining, hey, you're asking me what my vision is for a course, and I haven't had time. We're already in like week 5 of the design phase, and I'm supposed to be working on a whole different set of assets and designing a whole set of assets, and I haven't had time to really get a vision, you know? So that sometimes can be very tricky because you don't really have a lot of time, so you're just kind of thrusted into something, and you have to make do with what you have. And yeah, we land on our feet, but it sometimes feels a little bit. I always wonder what I would be able to do if I just had an extra week, you know, to plan. So I would say that's kind of the pros or the biggest pro and con.
Okay, thank you. So time is an issue, and I feel I was
Yes.
I saw a few heads shaking yes, so I think that maybe it's across the board. Leanne, what about yourself?
So far, I think what has just been the best part of being an instructional designer, at least in my role, is I just moved over from a position where kind of every single day was structured the same, and I could predict what was going to happen in my workday, and it was the same thing, you know, day after day. But in my role now, you know, one day I'm working on creating an escape room for an algebra professor, and then the next day I'm working on a podcast for an environmental science professor. And so it's just so different, and it really keeps you going and keeps your creative mind, you know, up and running every day. So I love that every day is so different and every day is something new, and you know, you're given a new challenge every day, and oh, how can I create something that'll fit perfectly here? So that's kept me pretty excited. Something that I don't like, I guess, I'm still pretty new, so I haven't really found too much that is a huge dislike for me. But I think kind of a pro and con of the field is that there's so many tools out there, and it's kind of a never-ending wealth of resources you can use. So I might be in a conversation with a group of faculty and say, oh, you know, I think this tool or this software. Like, for example, we were talking about video discussion boards. And I was like, oh, Flipgrid or Nomia, these would be great tools. And then one of the faculty was like, what about Microsoft Stream? What do you know about that? Don't you think that would fit here? And I'm like, gosh, I don't know that one. So you're never going to know everything that's out there. And for me, working with faculty from 5 different campuses, they know so many things individually, and I can never know every single one of those. But again, that's part of the role, is learning new things. And if they mention something, I'll write it down really fast and Google it 10 minutes later. So I'm learning as I go, but there's a lot out there. But I think that's also a benefit to the field. That's what I would say for my pros and cons.
Okay, thanks, Ian. And I agree. I feel like, yeah, like Susanna just mentioned something, and I just didn't know that that was out there. So I just
Yeah,
learned
there's a
something
lot.
myself. But there's lots and lots of tools to learn. But I guess that keeps you on your toes, like
Yeah,
something
definitely.
else you can learn from yourself too. So
Yeah.
Okay, how about Stacy? Oh,
I'm like, where's me unmute again? I got to find it. I would say, for me, I always love the digital piece. You put me on the software with Articulate or Camtasia or any of that, and I was just like a pig in mud. I just love it. And I think one of my favorite things is just the company is very much behind giving you the tools that you need to produce what you see. And I love that. So, they have, I haven't really run into a place yet where I wanted to create something I didn't have the tool set to be able to put it together. So I love that. I love that, oh, we need Illustrator. Okay, well, let's get that license. So I like that they're on all the pieces and that they want to promote it and they want it to be new and they want it to be modern, they want it to be different, and they're willing to support the process it's going to take for that to happen. So I think I like that the best because I love the digital piece so much. But I do love how much I am using all the other things that I liked, but I didn't feel like I would use as often. And I really am using them, design documents and analysis. And, we're doing impact maps. And I would say, as far as like what's my least favorite, some of the analysis is really, it just is, like tentacles. It just goes and goes and goes. And for me, because I love to develop, I want to like, okay, let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up and go ahead and get to the development piece. So, okay, that's close enough, right? Isn't that good enough? So, and so I'll be in meetings and we're going through impact analysis and then, a lot of different opinions and trying to pull everybody together, so that is, just a piece that's necessary, but, maybe not, my favorite. Not that I don't like it, but, just not my favorite because I'd rather just be, developing and, and I love the group I work with. Everybody helps out together. So, it's just been a really nice fit.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, Stacey, because I have conversations with different students, and sometimes they are the complete opposite. They're like, I cannot sit in the front of the computer and develop for 5 hours. I want to do, the other part of it. But I understand that there's like different, each person has their likes. So.
It's funny how, everybody kind of has what they like the best, but I feel like I've really used it all, which is good.
That's awesome. Thank you, Stacy. Susanna, how about yourself? What do you like the most and what do you like the least of your current ID role?
I think like I like everything. No, like I feel like when I came and I proposed what I'm capable to do, I gave them the options. I also created infographics for them for like doing job aids. They were like so fascinated, like, oh my God, this is so amazing. Can you then like do this? And they gave me around like 23 to complete. And I was like, okay, yeah, go ahead. I'm so creative and I like designing things. So that's, I think, like one of the things that I like, that they actually like what I do, and they are always saying, like, supporting me. They always saying, like, you're doing a great job, I like what you did. So that keeps me motivated to continue doing my job. I think that that's most of us that agree with that. The part that we don't like is sometimes the deadlines are crazy, and agree with Stacy as well, that there are different opinions, and sometimes I'm like, oh my God, what I'm gonna do. But other than that, I think, like, all since October that I'm working there till now, all I can say is positive things of my job.
Yay, that makes me happy. Thank you, Susanna.
Mhm.
Okay. So one question that just came up to as we were talking about designing different things and you're working in different fields. Actually, let me go to Amani first, and then I'll come back to this question because I want to include Amani in this question as well. So Amani, what do you like the most, and what do you like the least about your current ID role?
So I have a couple things. Like a lot of other people said, I really enjoy the flexibility. No one day has been the same since I started working there. I do all sorts of things. I'm a graphic designer, I'm tech support, I'm an instructional designer. So I'm doing all these different things. So that's really cool. I'm also in charge. So I'm a department of one. So I have full control over everything that I'm doing. So that's pretty fun. I have an executive director who I report to, but everything I show her, she's like, wow, this is so great. The really cool thing was when I started working there, they were outsourcing their instructional design work. And I actually took that over recently because it was like doing double work. I was sending it out to them and then I was coming back and redoing it. So I actually got to take control of everything. So that's pretty cool. So I've only been there for 2 months, but I was saying to somebody the other day, this is the most stress-free job I've ever had. Like, it's so nice working from home and just doing my work and then shutting my computer at the end of the day and then going about my life. So that's really nice. Right now, I don't have any least favorite things. My rest of my coworkers are in Kentucky, so I don't really interact with them in person, obviously, but we have meetings throughout the week, so I get to know them that way. But that's probably the only thing I could think of that I don't really get to see them. But yeah.
Okay, well, that's pretty neat. So far, so good. And at least you are all working remotely, I assume. So they're kind of everybody's like on the same boat anyways. So, okay, well, thanks for sharing, Amani. One of the things that I wanted to ask, and all of you are working in areas that are not that are related to a specific topic. Amani is working with this agency who deals with like juveniles going across borders. So it's a different topic that perhaps what you study, Amani, and then Leanne and Patricia were talking about dealing with different subjects that are completely, you may have not studied those subjects. The same thing for Susanna, and the same thing with Stacy. So like, how do you manage working with topics that are outside of your expertise? Do you work with a subject matter expert, or do you spend a lot of time reading about this topic so that you are better at it? Like, I feel like I think I'm a decent professor because I know instructional design and that's what I teach and that's what I study. But if I was asked to create something that was not my area of expertise, I would have to do like a lot of reading, or I would feel nervous creating something. So how do you cope with that challenge? And I'll start with Leanne because she has to deal with a lot of faculty, and then we go from there.
So the way that we have it set up at HCC is that the faculty come to us to schedule a consultation. So I work remote Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I'm in the office Tuesday, Thursday, but they don't meet with me in person. So it's all, we use Teams as well. I think Stacy mentioned that. So it's all Teams meetings, and it'll be for an hour, it'll be for 2 hours. It might be, an hour in a couple different sessions on different days. But I talk to them a lot. Usually it's 1 or 2 faculty, so I'm not working with a whole bunch of people. So it's pretty easy to, hone in on this one faculty and say, hey, I have no clue what, to put here for this piece of the project. But definitely working with them has been pretty easy so far. I think I'm lucky in that way. But meeting with them and asking them a lot of questions is my go-to for that.
Okay, thank you, Leanne. How about you, Stacy?
I have a little bit of everything. I've done some contract work on the side as well. And like I had to put together some training on like agile and waterfall methodologies for an engineering company. And I was like, whoa. And their content was not that great. They had some slide decks that were so cryptic. And so I just went off and actually kind of found my own stuff to try to build it out and make it more comfortable. But it did take me a lot of time because I had to go resource some of that. And then some of the engineers were like, where did this information come from? I was like, oh, sorry about that. So then I had to backtrack and I had to give them all my source materials, which were good. They were scholarly articles and everything else, but they were like, I had to prove it, that it was good material, for the work off. So yeah, that was pretty funny. So anyway, so some of it, yeah, I have to kind of just make up on my own. But when it's something super specific to like a job position, then I lean in on the group that is this me, and I'm like, look, I don't know what your expectations are, so you have to tell me. So I kind of lean in that way. So it kind of depends on the topic. If it's generic, like it's a soft skill, I can go look some of that up. Like if it's active listening or writing a good email or an elevator pitch, I can go and kind of source some of that stuff out myself. So
Okay, thank you, Stacy.
sure.
Amani, how about yourself?
So I have had to do a lot of studying. There are a lot of really specific rules and statutes and things that I have to follow. So I have this huge book that's like this thick that I have to go through trainings, like flip through it and make sure I have the exact wording that's in it because that's really specific. But I'm working with, it's really interesting. I work with people all around the country. So like if I have a question about a specific state, I can go to them and ask them how it works in their state. But I actually really liked criminology and criminal justice when I was in school. I took some classes in that, so it worked out pretty well for me there.
Okay, thank you, Manny. Patricia, how about yourself?
Oh boy. Okay, so that was my biggest fear actually. When I went into my job was, I don't know how to do this. Like I was not sure how I was going to pull that off. But how it kind of works is that UMA comes up with a big, wish list of projects. I call it a wish list, a big wish list of projects at the start of every year. And they come to curriculum and they're like, hey guys, let's make all this happen. So last year, I'll just use that as an example. I was I was the lead CID, the lead instructional designer, and unfortunately the project manager of the healthcare accounting program, and which was mostly accounting courses. Right now, I avoided business when I was in school. Never took a business class. You could have said intro to business. I said no thanks. So when my supervisor was like, Patricia, you're going to build the HCA program, and I was like, okay, cool. Like healthcare, what's the A? And she's like, accounting. I'm like, okay. Well, for the record, I'm basically a junior accountant now, so whatever, I can do your taxes. And how it started was I was basically assigned subject matter experts. So we're kind of assigned the lead faculty or the faculty that have master's degrees in these areas that are teaching, that will be teaching the courses. And those are my besties. Those are my homies. We've worked together for a strong over a year, but when it came to building the curriculum, it was about 7 months that I had to build like 7 courses. And you get really close with some people, and essentially it was nonstop with me just being like, hey, I need help, come up with a discussion prompt, you know, or I need to know all about, gosh, what was it? Statements of cash flows. You can't tell me nothing about a statement of I know how to do statements of cash flows. I had to write a whole interactive on it. So how that worked was essentially, I sat with my subject matter experts in like a virtual roundtable, right? Like I met with them online and I was just like, tell me everything I need to know about a statement of cash flows. Tell me, like, talk to me like I don't know what I'm doing, because I don't. And they gave me wonderful notes. They even wrote little blurbs as if they were like just telling somebody how to do it. And from there, I, of course, did my thing, worked my little ID magic and turned it into a whole lesson. So that's kind of how our day-to-day goes with our subject matter experts, but we do have those, and those are obviously very important. There are projects where we're just essentially required to kind of figure it out on your own. But when it comes to content, if it's anything that relates to student-facing content, I always at least have had a subject matter expert. But there have been times where I've been given something and I'm like, you know, like this doesn't sound great, or like if I can't understand it, it's a problem, right? So like if I can't read it, that's a red flag. I mean, seriously. So I have gone on the internet and I have had to Google a couple of YouTube videos and read a couple intro to business, intro to accounting articles, just to get a little bit of a context, so that can help me, you know, formulate a couple sentences better. But for the most part, I'm very fortunate to work with subject matter experts who are also quite knowledgeable about their subject matter. So that works
good.
out well for me. I know, right? It works out well for me.
Thank you, Patricia. Susanna, how about yourself? What is your experience like working with a topic that I'm guessing is completely different to your education background?
Yes, it's completely different. When they first gave me a training, I was kind of like freaking out because I was like, there are like terminology that I don't understand. There are like motorhomes. I don't know anything about that. How can I make a training? So based on that, I spoke with a subject matter expert. I asked them like, okay, I need more information. I need, how can you help me to better understand these kind of things so I can then, based on your steps, I can create the script and finally develop the training. The first training, it was kind of like difficult to situate myself, but after that, I think like I really get matching with the subject matter expert, and now we are working like really good. So I think like it was just basically trying to connect with the subject matter expert.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, ladies. I have to talk about this in my Wednesday night class. So these are all great examples that I can use. I want to open for questions from the class because everyone's been listening very attentively, but I don't know if you have any questions. Do you want to unmute your mic, raise your hand, or maybe type in the chat? I'll give you a minute just in case. Go ahead, Indy.
Can you talk a little bit more about that quality matters?
Okay, so that was both Patricia and Leanne talked about that. So Patricia, do you want to go first?
I sure can. So QM, quality matters. Like I said, it's the gold standard of what an online and e-learning course should look like. So QM is known for their rubric, which is very extensive. There are 8 standards that address different areas within an online course. And within those standards, there are specific review standards. There's like anywhere between like 4 to like 6 or 7 specific review standards. So there's about, I don't know, I'm making this number up because I don't do math. Like almost 40 something standards overall that you go through and read through that are being assessed on your online course. So everything from, is there a student welcome? Do students have to introduce themselves? All the way through ADA. And, you know, are you offering your students that are disabled an option to hear a lesson, or, you know, is there an ADA option in the course? So there's, I mean, it goes through everything. And so essentially, if you want your course or you want your program or your school to be QM certified, it's a big deal. It's a big whoop, because I mean, they are the gold standard. So everybody wants it. I think like Harvard and some Ivy Leagues have, you know, QM certified courses. UMA has a couple QM certified, or we have one, but my program's going to be another program that's going to be QM certified. So we go through, we're going through the process now. So essentially, I believe, there's a team of 3 reviewers. They're all different people that all have various backgrounds. Some people are instructors, some people are instructional designers. But these are all people that have been certified by Quality Matters by going through the courses that we kind of talked about earlier. They offer professional development courses. And so you can take their courses and basically apply to do different roles for QM. And they do pay you, they give you a stipend, found that out too. So there's a team of 3 reviewers. They take the rubric, they get a copy of your course, and they just go through it. They take about 3 weeks to do the review. They send it back to you. There's a very, specific review standards. There's a very specific way they do recommendations. So even if they check off that your course does have, you know, the right, or not even the right, but your course does show measurable objectives, they might have an improvement or a recommendation to improve. So it's very helpful, because you have literally somebody on the outside you don't know, it's completely anonymous, reviewing your course. And so that's really nice. Even if your course still needs some work, it's nice to have that so you can know where to improve upon to make the learning experience better. So I think that's the gist of QM. And like I said, my job pays for our professional development. I have a really, really, really great supervisor who pushes us to be proactive about furthering our instructional design experience. And she doesn't care, you know, she's always like, let's sign up for this, go to this conference, do this. So
that's nice.
Really nice. I'm very fortunate, and she's really awesome, and they pay for it because it is $200 per course. But we do have to pass. So, so that's the tricky part. We do have to pass, but they are kind of rigorous, but it's worth it, because I know so much about that rubric. I know so much about that rubric. I don't want to know about that rubric. I know quite a bit. I also technically could apply, once I teach 2 courses, I could technically apply to be a reviewer. So it's nice and worth it, and it pays off, because that's a big thing as an instructional designer to kind of have on your plate. I would say that no matter where you are in this journey so far, if you have an opportunity to just go look at the website and just check it out. The QM rubric is on the internet as well. So just be familiar with it, or be ask about it in your future job and ask them to pay for it. Because I say, do it. If they're willing to say, what do you want to do? You want to do any professional development? Say, heck yes, I'll do QM. And get it on your resume, and get it, you know, as something that you have under your belt, because it's pretty well respected, and I've learned quite a bit from it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Leon, anything else you want to add to it?
Yeah, I mean, Patricia kind of explained it from start to finish, but it is a huge thing to have this QM certification on your course. It is a big deal, especially for HCC. They're huge focus on it right now, because we're part of the Florida State College system. And so all the online courses from all the Florida state schools are in this course registration website online. So anyone who's searching for a course, say they're, you know, at home for the summer and they just want to pick up a class to get ahead, even if it's not at their college, they might take one, you know, over the summer. And so they'll go on to this course registration. Say they're looking for first year writing. There must be thousands of those course offerings through every Florida college. But if they have that QM designation, they're at the top. So it's a really big deal as far as, you know, just standing out and showing that you have this really high quality course. Like Patricia said, there's 3 reviewers who take a look at it, and they might be in your field, they might not be in your field, but you need to set it up in a way that anyone can understand the course. So at HCC, we used to send the courses out to QM, which was called an external review. And I think it was something like $1,000 per course, because like Patricia said, it's a dense rubric. So it does take a lot of work and it does take a lot of time for them to go through it. So HCC has a lot of faculty and staff that are now getting their QM certification, like Patricia said she was working on. So hopefully cost savings wise, instead of sending our courses out to be reviewed, we're going to have 3 random anonymous faculty or staff at HCC who have that certification, and they'll be able to review it internally. So we won't have to pay that $1,000 per course. But like Patricia said, it's going to be a big perk if you are going into, higher ed, or if you're going into any online course offering role, because we had a project manager who was hired around the same time I was. And I remember them talking about her interview, and they were like, oh my gosh, she's a QM reviewer. Like, she already had that under her belt, and that was a huge deal. Because like Patricia said, it's just a lot of training that you have to go through for that. So I'm not certified, but just being familiar with it can get you, a pretty far way. So the rubric's out there, so just take a look at it. I remember when I was going through my interview, I was like, oh my gosh, I know nothing about this. But then you look at the rubric and you're like, oh yeah, I know things should have ADA compliance. Oh, I know your objectives should be measurable. So even if you don't know every bit of the rubric, going through this program, you're gonna learn each of those pieces at some point.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Leanne. And yeah, I was gonna say, like, it was mentioned by both Patricia and Leanne. If you go to their website, you can create an account just for free. And you don't, all you have to do is provide an email, I think. And you can download the rubric, and you'll see that a lot of the things you probably have already addressed in the program. And QM, it is recognized internationally. I actually got to meet the QM representative for Latin America, and he was actually based out of Chile. And he basically would talk about QM to universities and organizations throughout Latin America. So it is kind of like an international thing. It's not just within the United States. So I think it's a big deal.
They offer free webinars too. They're always blowing up my email with free webinars and free learn how to do this and how to do that. So that's just something else too. Another reason why to get on their email list.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have another question that was posted in the chat. Oh, wow, there's a lot. I wasn't keeping track. So Josh says, and I'll just open it. I'll just post the question, and if anyone wants to jump in, we'll do it this way so that we can move along with the questions. In addition to your ID background and education, what skills and experience were important to your employer when you walk in the door?
Can I go? Can I answer that? Can I answer? Okay.
Well, let's give Amani kind of jumped in there first.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Amani.
Okay. I have a bachelor's degree in journalism. So they were really excited about that. So now I'm working on newsletters that go out to the organization. I do all the proofreading for everything, anything that goes out. And they have a really long handbook for all the commissioners and the staff that goes out. So I edit that as well. So I know they were really excited about my background in journalism.
Okay, thank you, Amani. Patricia?
I was just talking about this. So I worked at UT for a long time, and I worked in the registrar's office. Yeah. If you ever needed a grade change or you needed a transcript or a diploma, I'm your girl. And one thing I can say is dealing with the daily UT student was a joy and a pleasure in many different areas, of course, but it was also, there's parents as well. And so being customer service friendly was something that played a big role, because I think if you work in customer service, it humbles you a lot. And having to provide quality service to, our UT students, UT alumni, anybody, because I mean, like the president was walking in the office as well. And, you know, so everybody that walked in the office and being, you know, a fresh face and being friendly and kind was something that really helped with subject matter experts, because they want to be understood more than anything. You know, I know one of the more difficult things I have to do is often tell somebody no, or like, that's a great idea, but in the inside, I'm like, it's never going to happen. So it's just one of those things that you have to, like, I think that really helped me because it taught me how to deal with people. And so I use that often to, you know, when I'm talking to somebody, because I know people want to be heard. They want their concerns to be heard. They want to feel like, yeah, we need to do this in the course. And students often, they struggle with this. So I want to see more of this. And I'm like, okay, that's really great. You know, and I'm thinking, I'll write that down. We'll see if we can incorporate it. And then sometimes some ideas are like, like we can't do that. That's never going to happen. So I think that was really helpful because it just really taught me how to, you know, communicate with people and deal with people, and politely say no as well.
Yeah, thank you, Patricia. That was actually one of the things we discussed. It wasn't in this class, but we're talking about it in systematic instructional design. And I was telling the students that we try to, you know, talk a lot about instructional design skills, but teaching soft skills, that is really challenge. That is something that I think we definitely challenge through to do in the program, because teaching soft skills is not an easy thing to do in a curriculum. So you kind of develop it over experience. So what about the other ladies, skills and experiences? Go ahead. Who was this? Susana.
Well, for the first one, for the first question, when I told my boss that I graduated with a bachelor's in communication and I work at WEDU, she was like, you are the person that we're looking for. Because she also told me that they were invited at the Be More Awards that WEDU does every year. And I was like, I was there. So those things, I believe it was something in particular that catch her attention. And also I work at UT at the call center, and I was working with students and parents as well. So I know how Patricia feels in that aspect. So in the aspect of the RVs, there's a lot of customers. So I know how to be so kindly with the calls and everything. So in that way, she was really happy when I told her all about this.
Okay, thank you, Susana. So customer service in general sort of like comes in handy. Okay, so unless Leanne and Stacy want to add any other? Okay, we'll go to the other question. Kate says, what were your job interview questions? ID theories, anything as specific?
I can answer that one. I interviewed not too long ago, back in October. The way my interview was set up is there was a hiring committee of, I think like 7 or 8 people, all from different departments that would end up working with a curriculum designer. So my now boss was on the call, someone from the Student Disability Services Office was on the call, a faculty, just all these different people from different areas of the college. And they each went around and asked one question. And then after that, I was asked to show a project that I had recently developed, show it off. It was through a Zoom call, so I was able to, you know, share my screen, and I had to explain how I designed it, like what my process was, and then one of the 4 talk about how I incorporated video and media, OER, quality assurance, and UDL or UDL. So the big part of my interview is showing something I created and then walking through kind of my train of thought and how I started from the beginning all the way to the end. So that was a really big portion of mine. And then they asked, you know, how do you work with a difficult SME, and what's your preferred design theory or process that you follow? But yeah, I'll let other these ladies talk about specific questions, but the biggest portion of mine was showing off a project and walking through it.
Mhm. Thank you, Leanne. And I know Amani recently interviewed, so Amani, if you want to share your experience too.
Sure. So in my interview process, they didn't really ask any specific questions about instructional design because they really don't know anything about it. But they really, really appreciated my portfolio. They really mentioned a ton of the times that really helped them throughout the process, that they could actually see what I was doing, and it had links to all kinds of different things. So that was really helpful, but not really any specific questions about theories or anything. But they just kind of wanted to know about my experience in the program and what I would bring to the table there.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Amani. So I'm happy to hear that they enjoy the portfolio. And I actually share your portfolio with both of these classes because I thought it was exemplary. So yeah, I really enjoy reviewing it. I just wanted to mention that I added 2 things to the chat. Leanne mentioned OERs, and that's referring to open educational resources. And that's materials that's made and it's available to anyone. And then UDL, which is Universal Design for Learning, which is kind of designing instructional material that is going to be accessible, but that also includes like being culturally responsive. It just basically making material that's accessible to anyone. So I just in case it wasn't mentioned in some of your other courses, since we have some of the intro students in here. Let me go to the next question, unless anyone wants to add more about their interview.
I can say, I don't know how the interviews from all of you guys went, but I did 3 interviews, like 3 sessions. The first one was with my boss. The second one was with, it's not my boss, but kind of is they work together. And the third one was when I showed to them the final, like my sample. So when I showed them my sample, I did it on Beyond. Even though I didn't know that software existed before, I did the sample in there because it was a sign. It's when my boss on that first interview told me about the software, I was like, I need to do something with this, because if they are doing this, that's how I'm going to show them that I'm able to be in this position.
That's very, that was very good call for you, Susana. And how long did you have to create that sample? Did you have like a couple of days?
2 days or so.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that I've noticed most recently in job interviews is that they'll give you like a day or 2 days, and then you have to like show that you can do it. Maybe it's to deal with that time pressure, like Patricia was mentioning, and others. So yeah, that's kind of tricky. Emily has another question. What advice would you give your younger self at the start of your career? Ooh, your younger version. It's like a couple years.
I will start first.
Go ahead.
Not be afraid.
Okay, go ahead, Susana. Okay, to not be afraid, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like I was too afraid to show all my knowledge. Now I'm looking like, wow, how many things you have accomplished since you start on the program. Both like my undergrad and my IDT. So I'm really happy. I will say to Susana from 2013, when I start my journey here in the US, to not be afraid.
Oh, thank you, Susana. That's very nice. What about the others? Amani, I think I saw you raise your hand.
Yes, I would definitely say apply to jobs that you don't think you're qualified for. Apply.
Yes.
everything that's out there, because the job I have, I didn't think I would get it. I didn't think I was qualified for it, but here I am. So yeah, definitely just put yourself out there. The program, everything that we learned in the program was just, I feel like I know so many things now. So just definitely take it all in, build that portfolio, and just present yourself and be confident.
Thank you, Amani. What about the others? Anything that you would tell your younger self, or when you first started this journey, whether it's instructional design or your undergrad?
To kind of, I mean, Amani and Susanna totally nailed it with the don't be afraid. I mean, and put yourself out there no matter what. I definitely was. I graduated from the program and I was good at IDT, and that scared me. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to do because I liked it all. And it took me a second to just say, you know what, let's just go for it. Let's just put it out there and see what happens. And it works out well. It worked out really well. And even in my current role now in my job, when my supervisor first asked me about wanting to build the healthcare accounting program, I was like, yeah, like I was excited. I was like, yeah, this is going to be great. But I was also terrified because I was like, I know nothing about accounting. Like, what am I going to do? I don't know how to pull this off. And I mean, having to be a project manager and the lead instructional designer and also design my own stuff was tough. I mean, it was hard. And I till this very day, I'm like, I don't know how I pulled that off, but I just kind of jumped in head first. I guess that's like another really good thing to say. It's just, you have to jump in head first. This program is probably the perfect program that's going to lead you to a job. I mean, seriously, it's got to be like one of the most successful at UT for real, because there's no way I mean, again, registrar's office. So I know who calls and asks for a transcript for jobs, right? So, I mean, literally I have seen so many people go through this program and land a job. There's just no way you can't. I mean, we really, Dr. Romero-Hall and the other professors really do prepare you for everything you need for the job market. So it's really just a matter of not being afraid. And like Amani said, just apply. I mean, that's the lesson that I'm, almost 4 years out now. Oh, and I'm still learning that the hard way, which is just, it doesn't matter, Patricia, just do it. You know, like, I don't think I've been in my role for almost 2 years and I still feel like, oh, I don't know anything, you know, or I don't know enough, or I don't know this and I don't know that, but I actually know quite a bit and I know a lot from this program. So do it, just go for it, rip it off like a Band-Aid.
Thank you, Patricia. Stacy, how about you?
I'm still looking for that unmute button. It's in the same place. It doesn't move. So I don't know, for me, looking back, I would say, this just goes to a core value for me. I just would say pray first, and then keep your eyes open to every opportunity, and just know that the things that you get rejected on are simply leading you to the right thing. So
Yeah,
that's the way, I look at it. I don't really always want what I think I need. I want to be open to what's better for me. So just keep your eyes open and try.
Wonderful. Thank you, Stacy. Leanne, how about yourself?
I think especially when I was early in the program and I would be assigned a homework assignment and I'm like, okay, I'll just whip something together and, Dr. E is going to be the only one who ever sees this, so it's no big deal. But it is a big deal because those homework assignments are exactly what's going on your portfolio, and it's going to be shown to, hopefully a future employer, and that's where you're going to get jobs. So it's not just a homework assignment. Whatever you're creating is your portfolio. And so HCC, we're currently hiring for a curriculum designer, and I was put on the hiring committee. So now I'm kind of on the other side looking at applicants, and we've had quite a few from UT apply from the UT program. And it is just such a stark difference with the portfolio for students that come out of UT and then the portfolio for just all the other candidates. It's a huge difference. We have had so many candidates apply that have PhDs and they've taught in higher ed for 20 plus years. And we open their file and we're just like, oh my gosh, this person is so professional and they're going to be a really good applicant. And then we scroll all the way at the bottom is the link to their portfolio. And we're just like, no, the portfolio is such a huge piece. And I think the UT program really, really, really puts you on that path to have a portfolio that will blow people away. Because I can say from the hiring committee, it's a huge difference. And you guys are all here in this program. You're going to go through the program. And like everyone else said, don't scare yourself, don't psych yourself out, because going through this program, you're going to be ready. Even if you don't feel like it, once you start, you're going to be ready.
Oh, those are very kind words. Thank you, Leanne. And I just want to mention two stories. The first one is mentioning Leanne actually just a few days, actually it was the day that Leanne emailed the faculty to let us know that she had landed her job at ACC. Someone else who is in an instructional design program, a doctoral program at UF that I know, mentioned that they had applied for the same position. And I was like, are you sure you applied for that position? Because a former student just told me that she got the job. And she was like, when did she find out? And I was like, I don't know, but she just emailed me that she got the job. And she was fine. She's gonna land on her feet somewhere else. But it was really interesting to me that Leanne got her job, and someone else that I knew that is in a doctoral program got the job that Leanne got.
Thanks for sharing that. I appreciate that.
And the other story, and I hope it's okay to share, when Amani actually got her job, I could not believe that this was happening. And I sort of mentioned it a little bit the last time we met. I got an email, and the email came through and it says, would you provide a reference for, and it was like Amani. And then I was like, oh yeah, sure. I was just thinking to myself, I'll provide a reference for Amani. And then like 5 minutes later, it was the same person. And they were like, would you provide a reference for X person who had also graduated from the program? And I was like, what? So I actually called Amani's boss, and we ended up having like an hour and a half conversation. I provided references for the two students, which was an extremely difficult situation for me. But I knew in my heart that this position was for Amani. But I said, when she asked me, she's like, who would you hire? And I said, I prefer not to answer that question because, both students are very dear to me. So you never know. And I feel very proud of the students that we put out of this program. So anyways, with that, I want to go into breakout rooms because I'm going to give you an opportunity to chat with each other, to have like smaller groups. So what I may do is have 3 breakout rooms and divide the conversation up a little bit. And I know Camila posted a question. Camila, is it okay if we come back to it or maybe address it in the breakout room? Yeah, okay. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna do 3 breakout rooms, and I'll make sure that we have speakers in each breakout room. So we're gonna give it about 15 minutes, and then I'll check in with everybody. So, sorry, I'm just making sure we have a speaker in each room. Okay, so here you go.
Yes, I'm back. I'm back. First, who's back?
I'm sure others will join in soon. It's going by, the time is going by quickly.
Yeah.
Was it a good breakout session?
Perfect. Yeah, Stacy is perfect, and another one as well. Yeah, Camila had some last minute question. That's why they're still there.
Welcome back, everyone. Still waiting on a few. Okay. Think we got mostly everyone back. Welcome back. Was it a good breakout session? I didn't think we were gonna have time. I didn't want to break conversation through, so I didn't want to switch again.
It was great. I'm changing careers. No, just kidding.
How could that even be? You already have your internship.
Just kidding. Just
Camila, was your question addressed, or do you want to address your question as a group? I can't, you're muted.
Sorry, I think it's addressed. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Like I was mentioning, I didn't want to break conversation, so I didn't want to switch the rooms. But I do have one last final question, and this final question is for me and not so much for the rest of the group. So you have all gone through the program. Is there anything that you think the program should address better, that you wish the program could address that would help you? And I won't take any offense to it, but I'm curious to know if there's anything that we don't cover that you wish we cover.
I think that the multimedia course should be required.
I said the exact same thing in my breakout session. I was like, that media course, I mean,
Yeah.
without it, you might not know a couple of the softwares, but that one really introduces you to a big variety.
Right.
Okay.
And we were even talking about the Captivate. I would have loved to have taken that class. I just couldn't work it in, with the timing whenever it was, there were other mandatory things I had to take or whatever. So,
Yeah, I wasn't
Yeah.
able to take it either.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I would love to know Captivate. So, but yeah, I think those, it just seems like instructional design is going more and more towards the development.
Mm-hmm.
So those are
Okay.
becoming more important.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Unfortunately, we only were able to get like software for like budget for one software, which
Yeah.
I'm glad we did before all of this happened because budget's a little bit tighter now.
Yeah.
But whenever the next round of like, hey, do you need something? That would definitely be our number one priority so that everyone at least has it in their own computer. And actually Patricia was like way before we even had the software for every student. So she was like using the trial versions,
Yeah, it was a struggle bus. We were trial versioning it up. I had like 4 different emails going. It was a good time. And if the word free 99 came out of somebody's mouth, we were like, what, where, how? Those were the good old days where we would go to the lab and sit in the lab and work.
Well, and just for the rest of the class, there's the media for instruction course, and then there's multimedia development. And if you want more information of those 2 courses, I'll be glad to provide those. We have syllabus already created for both of those courses, so we'll be glad to provide any info. Anything else?
we were discussing the same thing in the group, like more time to just to explore some more software or programs.
Mm-hmm.
Tech tools.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just want to, I put a screen together, so I have to share it. I put a slide together. So I just want to thank you, ladies, so much for joining in today. It has been a great pleasure to have you here. I hope it's okay. I share your LinkedIn links, I guess you could say, your LinkedIn links with the class, so that if they wanted to connect with you or wanted to talk more with you about your experiences, I could connect with you that way. And I know that some of them may reach out to you now that they know that you went through the program and have some experience. So let me check the chat so I don't forget, I don't get miss any comments. Any final thoughts, comments that you would like to share with the current students? Words of advice, anything?
Don't overthink it. I know somebody else said that, but that's really a big thing. I think that is what made me a little bit apprehensive after I got out of the program. I was like, okay, I'm equipped with everything, but why am I not taking the plunge? So don't overthink it, and you are well prepared. I think Amani and I made that very clear in our breakout session. You guys, you got it. You got all the skills you need to land a job and to be successful in this career. And Dr. Romero-Hall, like, the program it's amazing. So it's really good to see. I love creeping on the little IDT page and seeing the post pop up where students are landing jobs, and I'm like, yes, another one. So, sorry. So I'm really excited, and I love that. So just don't overthink it and go for it. Seriously.
Awesome. Anyone else? And I put a little reminder of myself here to take a picture because I always forget to do that.
I just have a really, really simple thing, and I had mentioned this to my breakout group, but going through the applicants for the current job opening, there have been so many where I just want to pull my hair out because I click on their portfolio link and it's locked, or it's like deactivated or disabled. So definitely check it yourself, but I would say have a friend check it, because you can probably get into your own portfolio, but make sure someone from the outside can get in, because we've had like at least 5 applicants where we click on it, it's like access denied, and we're just like, no, like, we want to see what's on your portfolio, but double check that for sure. And I don't think any of you guys will miss that, but just keep that in mind.
Okay, Stacey, any last minute words of advice?
No, I think the program is really good. I think it's very well rounded and that you're in good hands, and, just apply and, don't worry about the doors that close, because the right one will open up.
Okay, so let's do the photo, because that way I won't forget, and you just can look great. Smile if you want to. I'll just do Nancy, do you want to join us? I don't know if Nancy's there. Oh, Christina's actually driving. I don't know about this, Christina. Like, I don't know if this feels safe to me.
Sorry about that.
So I'll just do 1, 2, 3, and smile. Great. So thank you so much, lady, again, for taking the time out of your day. I know that you've probably already gone through your workday, and well, everybody that's in the class probably already did too, but I appreciate you taking the time and just sharing your knowledge with the class. Again, I will reshare your contact information so that if anyone in the class has more questions or additional questions, they can reach out to you. So with that, to the students, I will see you in 2 weeks. We will be meeting in person. And if I haven't given feedback on your portfolio, hold tight. I'm working on that. Hopefully you'll hear from me tomorrow. Okay, so everyone stay safe, and I will see you in person in 2 weeks on campus. Good night, everybody. Thank you, ladies.
Do we have some assignment?
Bye. Thank you.
Until next Monday?
Yes, you do. You have your program of study and your resume due if you're in the advanced seminar class.
Okay, so we should finish our resume.
Your resume and your program of study if you are in the advanced seminar.
When it is due?
It is due next Monday.
Okay. So where can we get our feedback from from the portfolio we submitted already?
I will be posting it tomorrow
Okay.
for
Thank
the
you.
advanced seminar. I think the intro seminar finished today. The advanced seminar, you should get it tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.
Have a good
Good
night.
night.
Thank you.
Sorry, I was late. So do we have a class now after 6:61?
Wait, I'm confused.
We do not. We are both meeting all at the same time.
Also, we're done.
Yes, we are done.
I can have my dinner. So today there's nothing due.
Today, there's nothing to.
And what Nancy is talking about, the comments, what feedback you are gonna give?
Because last week you posted your
Goal
goal
statement.
statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna post it. I actually already posted it to
Yeah.
you, Camila. Yeah.
I corrected it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to redo your. I'm kidding, Camila.
Well, what redo?
He's always
goal
one on
statement?
that.
He's
I'm
joking.
kidding. Bye.
Always.
Have a good one.
Fine.
He's joking. Nancy, you're in the advanced seminar. I'll be
Teasing
posting it
you.
tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
All
Have a
right,
good
bye.
night.
Thank you
Sure.
very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Stay
And sorry
safe,
about being
everyone.
late.
Bye.
No worries. Good night.